Hello and welcome back to Chengi's World. For those of you who are new to my channel, I am Chengi and you are my world. Today we're going to be discussing about the element of lowering your expectations to meet his performance. Now girls, this is going to be worth a wait and worth a watch. I just want to say before we begin, please make sure you grab a copy of my book, Position for I Do, How God Delivers Mr. Right When You Live with Power and Purpose. This book will fill your foundations, give you the confidence that you need to date like a high value, high asset, high worth, high status woman. Okay, so you will have the foundations to build upon. And when you read this book, all my videos will really begin to make good building blocks for your dating life. I'm also hosting a Show Me How to Date bootcamp where I'm going to have 80 women, 80, no more, no less, women who are going to be joining me in a boot camp. I am going to be sharing with those 80 women secrets that I only share with my paying clients. Secrets that I only share woman to woman that would never, ever, ever make it on this YouTube channel, on any of my social media. It is going to be a secret meeting. It is going to be a meeting of women, and I'm going to be dispensing sacred time-old secrets to make sure that you meet and marry the man of your dreams. Whether you are married or single and you want to learn to date your husband again, make sure that you are at this boot camp. All the information will be put live on all of my platforms. Check out my community page on YouTube and check out my Instagram and Facebook if you want more details and you want to get in on the early bird discount. Enough of the housekeeping, lowering our expectations to meet his performance. Okay, now what I want us to understand, there's something about human nature. Human nature is designed to put in effort to get something, but our desire is to settle into comfort. We love comfort. We're built for comfort. We want to find the most sweet spot in life where we can go to our job, where we can work really hard to impress our boss through the probationary period. It used to be 3 months, now it's 6 months. But we want to work hard through the probationary period, really show our boss that we're worth it, and reach a little sweet spot where we can have some time where we come to work, we work for 3-4 hours, and then we can laze around and play around and go on social media for most of the day and still manage to keep our job. It is human nature to want to get into a situation where you work hard at first, and when you've proved yourself, get to a point where you just do as little as possible to keep your job. And that's why companies have developed key performance indicators, KPIs. Now they realize that this human nature is such that if we do not give people targets, and not just a finished product, I want 1,000 pounds of you, targets to have more volume, targets for more customers, targets for this. And so all these key performance indicators that mean that no matter how tired you are, as much as you'd love to go on Facebook and hang out or Instagram, you have to work, you have to focus, you have to get it done, because your key performance indicators might determine whether you get to keep your job or whether you get that bonus or whether you get that commission. So if our companies and our employers know that they need to keep us on our toes and give us key performance indicators to get the most out of us, because they understand that it is human nature to get comfortable in the job, to become the face that everybody knows, and to begin to do the very least for the most amount of money, because they know that they set these things in place. But why doesn't a woman not? I know. Because as women, we too get into a relationship and then we want to do as little as possible. We don't want to always look so good. We don't always want to say all the right things the way we used to and smile at all of his jokes and laugh at all his jokes like we used to. So we're equally as guilty. And when our man lowers his performance as a result of our lowering our standards, it becomes a little bit of a problem. But this time around, I want to say this. Let's assume that you have kept your standards. Let's assume that you've been in this relationship and you have been performing at peak. You have been putting your best foot forward. You have been showing up the way you did when you were still dating, when you first met, whatever stage of the relationship you are still bringing it live and direct. Hello. Can I get an amen in the comment section? Let me hear it. Let me hear it, girls. Let me hear it. Let me hear it. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, work with me here, girl. Work with me. Okay. Okay. So basically, You have been doing the right thing, but this man, he's got into that comfort level zone. He's got into that sweet spot. You start to see that your man is lowering his performance. Now here's what's going on. Every man wants to see how little he can get away with giving and still get all the good stuff. Okay? So the issue here is to make sure that you nip everything in the bud. Don't complain about something 4 months later, 3 months later, after you're fed up, when you could have said something about it right here, right now, this minute. You know what, babe? I really appreciate it when a man does what he says he will do when he says he will do it. I don't really have a high tolerance for men who don't do what they say they will do. You know what, babe? I really appreciate it when you are timely. I really don't have patience or tolerance for a man who doesn't show up on time. I appreciate that we're all busy and we all have things doing, but you can always call ahead of time. Why do we not do this? Why do we not nip it in the bud? Because it's a psychological program running in the back of our minds, a little psychological programming that has a little hat on it, and that hat is called fear of loss. We're always consistently and constantly afraid of losing the man that we found, that we're afraid to put him off by setting a standard. But here's what happens. When you don't set a standard, he begins to feel that you are less value. He doesn't have to perform to please you. He doesn't have to give to please you. Now you must understand something about men psychologically. They need to give, do good to feel good. When a man works a little bit harder, corrects himself, tweaks himself to serve you, you start to become more important to him. You become valuable in his sight. But a man, when he meets a woman who has no requirements of him, no standards of him, he can come when he likes, he can be late, he can show up when he wants to show up, with who he wants to show up with, at any time that he wants to show up, and he will still have the wonderful, wonderful reception. You think you're winning him, but you're on your way to losing him. A man must always have his standards presented, your standards presented to him straight away. Never allow him to lower his standards. Never allow him to perform badly at anything that you know he can do really well at. Why? And how do you know? Because he did it in the beginning. When you met, he showed up for you. He showed up front and center. That means he is very capable, very, extremely capable of being the man that you need him to be. Women that hold men to their standards. Women who require their men to be the best version of themselves, are the women that men begin to respect. A man will always elevate his performance to meet your standards if your standards are real, true, and based on a true assurance and confidence of who you are, your value, and your worth. No one can ascribe value to you. You ascribe value and worth to yourself. And then you teach people how to be with you. You teach people how to treat you. That is not just your man. It is your boss. It is your colleagues. It is your children. You have a standard. And based on that standard comes the education that you give to those people around you. So lowering your expectations to accommodate your man will only lower your value, and it's only a matter of time before the relationship gets into crisis. Because the day that you are ready to speak, you are so full of energy, so full of negative energy, so full of resentment, but when it comes out of your mouth, it's not going to come out the way it's supposed to. It's going to come out in a way that is disruptive. And that man is not going to be so willing to listen. All of a sudden you're a diva. All of a sudden you're bringing the drama. Why? If you had done it in the beginning, if you had let him know that his bad behavior was disappointing to you and that it was unacceptable for you, you wouldn't be here. So do not be tempted to lower your expectations to meet your man's standards. Come on, girl. You're part of Chink as well. We don't do none of that. No. So thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you at the boot camp or my next video. Make sure you grab a copy of my book, Position for I Do. How God Delivers Mr. Right When You Live with Power and Purpose. Make sure you leave a comment. I love reading your comments. I live for your comments. I upload a video and then I watch my phone for comments. So make sure you leave a comment. Let me know, on the scale of 1 to 10, how have you been on checking that man? How have you been on upholding your standards? Scale of 1 to 10, just put a number in the comment section and I will be back to you. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon in my next video. Take care of you. Bye now.